This video is sponsored by Squarespace. More about them later. Last year, I visited the beautiful city of Tallinn, Estonia, and betwixt various stops where I learned about the ancient city's rich history and vibrant culture, I found a toy store filled with bootleg Pokemon products as far as the eye could see. I'm talking fake Pokemon cards, questionable keychains, and a green Pokeball that even to this day I'm too scared to open. But the crown jewel of my over €100 haul was this set of 24 figurines. It's hard to pick a favorite from this all-star roster. Is it the Ditto unsuccessfully trying to pass off as a Pikachu? The Raichu with alopecia? The Bunnelby that knows how it's going to die? The sewage waste-colored Monferno? But we haven't even gotten to the back of the packaging, which is incredible. It's mostly just pictures of different Pokemon, definitely all very real Pokemon, but it's the text that really makes this product worth its €60 price tag. Determined to become a Pokemon master, Ash with Pikachu came to the Carlos area. Have a new ideal to bid farewell to the United Area Companions Days, Tong and Alice. Yuli Selenia Lemon travel partner in the Carlos area and a new understanding of the Card 3 and the new Magic Baby Meet adventure story. Collect all unique slugs. But as objectively great, and hopefully non-toxic, as these cursed little figurines are, can they beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon X? That's what we're gonna find out. With the help of Uncle Jim Tendo, Andreano, all 24 figurines plus Bulbasaur and Swagduck here were magically ported into a very real copy of Pokemon X. Each Pokemon has some, let's call them quirks as a result of their bootleg nature, whether that be changes to their starting moveset, their typing, or their ability. Well, the Pikachus are actually all just Pikachus since those figurines turned out pretty okay, all things considered. In our bootleg Nuzlocke, if a Pokemon faints in battle, it's dead forever. And these are the only encounters I have. Despite their abysmal abilities, I decided it was only fair to bench Mega Mewtwo and Mega Blaziken until the late game. Lord knows these games aren't balanced to have the player get 2 guaranteed Megas. But even without them, the first part of this challenge is extremely easy. Brexib, the weak armor Braixen, torches his way through Viola's team, and then the mad duo of Truant Lucario, who I evidently forgot to give a nickname to, and Amur, the pure fairy type Amara, are able to best grants 2 fossilized dinos. We face a bit of an issue in Shalor City as it comes time to fight Serena, since we don't have a single Psychic-type resistance. Fortunately, Cricklicklack the klutzy Cricketune, say that 3 times fast, does a solid job. She manages to take out Absol too, so all we need is a counter to Frogadier, and the beefed-up huge power Bulbasaur is handily up to the task.
This better not awaken anything in me.
The third gym leader, Karina, is also not much of an issue. Girthta, the fairy-type Gothorita, does most of the heavy lifting, actually taking out Hawlucha with a well-timed Future Sight, if you can believe that. Future Sight, not totally useless. Yay! But as we enter the mid-game, our band of demented mutts are starting to bump up against their own limitations. Serena's Meowstic is now smart enough to click Psybeam, meaning that Cricklicklack has to start dodging some critical hits if she wants to survive the next few fights against the telekinetic kitty. With some help from Rutcha, the simple Raichu, we can close out this match, but it's clear my slugs are really gonna need to start working together. And against Ramos, they dutifully oblige. Amur hits Jigglypuff with a stabless Avalanche before Brexib comes in to take the kill with an Ember. Cricklicklack nails Go-Goat with an X-Scissor, and then Amur tags back in to take the kill with her second Avalanche. Finally, No Name single-handedly takes care of the Weepinbell, netting us badge number 4. Baby Dr. Octopus and his Heliolisk have the potential to be a major threat. Thunderbolts in electric terrain are like identity theft. They're no joke. But fortunately, I have the perfect counter in the form of Plinko the Lightning Rod Pikachu. Shh, play along, Plinko's doing their best. After No Name takes care of Magneton, Plinko can come in on Heliolisk's Thunderbolts for free, and then chip away at him with Volt Switch until he's low enough for Maku Pikachu, the electric fighting type Makuhita, to come in, take a stupid amount of damage from a resisted Thunderbolt, and then get the kill with a Wake-Up Slap. Rutcha cleans up Emolga with a few Thunderbolts, so just like that, we've got 5 gym badges. One Seed Bomb from Bulbasaur into Serena's Greninja later, and we're at the Laveer City Gym for badge number 6. Although Brexib is in arrested development, he's still strong enough to one-shot Mawile with Flamethrower, but without the secondary Psychic type, Mr. Mime can nail us with a nasty neutral Psychic. And with our Flamethrower doing what seems like right around 50%, I'm not willing to risk the roll. I've grown quite attached to these little freaks, so I want to hold on to our deathless run for as long as possible. On the switch to Rucha, Mr. Mime uses Light Screen, so unfortunately our Thunderbolt only does a smidge of damage before we get hit by another Psychic. Fortunately, a second Thunderbolt seems just barely enough to get the kill, leaving Valerie with her Sylveon. But this pink fairy is perfect for Mob Ferb, the Poison-type Monferno, who eats a critical hit Dazzling Gleam on the switch, and then nails Sylveon with a Stab Poison Jab that poisons. But it also activates Cute Charm, which... I'm sorry, I'm only just now noticing Monferno's bright red butt cheeks. And like, I get the inspiration, I've been to a zoo, but that just looks weird, right? And why is the tail centered directly in the middle of his butt cheeks? I hate this. Anyways, Horn Dog Mob Ferb gets immobilized by Love, so I gotta bring in No Name to ultimately take the kill with her own Stabless Poison Jab and win us the battle. Kinda crazy how much of this game is beaten by a Lucario. Good thing they don't just give you one for free, you know? Speaking of free, remember when I gave you that muffin for free? That was a pretty good muffin. Flygon HG? Flygon? Are you still mad about the whole locking you in the basement? Of course I'm still mad. How could you do that to me? I was in there for days. Do you know how suffocating it was to be locked inside that tiny square space for... Wait a minute. Did you lock me in the basement just to give me an easy ad segue in the future? Yes, definitely that. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, an online platform that helps you build and manage your own website, whether that's an online store for your business or a personal blog for your thoughts. Using their brand new guided system, Squarespace Blueprint, you can choose from professionally curated layouts and styling options to build a totally unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace Blueprint makes the perfect website tailored to whatever your brand or business is, and it optimizes it for every device. Plus, with integrated SEO tools, your passion project will show up more often to more people. I use Squarespace to create PoppyHG.com, the only destination to find curated pictures of my corgi puppy Poppy. And with Squarespace's video collection feature, now there's a whole video library for your viewing pleasure. With additional features like analytic information about the traffic of your website and online stores to help monetize your passion, you're sure to get the most out of your Squarespace subscription. So if you're looking to start a website for your business or hobby or corgi, then you should check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to start your website, you can use my custom link to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the challenge. Next is probably the hardest fight against Serena. She now has an evolution, her starter now knows 2 stab moves, and her other Pokemon have their strongest movesets as well. By again recklessly playing with Cricklaclack's life, she's able to best Meowstic with 2 X-Scissors. The aforementioned evolution comes in second, so I bring in my only water type, Psydub aka Swag Duck. Unfortunately, her hood doesn't double as a covert cloak, so she gets burned by Lava Plume, meaning we can only afford to hit a single Surf before switching out to No Name on a bite. With a Bulldoze, we take the kill on the following turn, bringing in Greninja. But now that he knows Dark Pulse, Bulbasaur isn't the perfect counter he once was. Instead, I just bring in Rucha to avoid the turn of Truant, and then swap back in to take the kill with an Aura Sphere. Even with a crit on our loafing turn, Absol can't kill my Steel-Spirited pup, so he falls to another Aura Sphere, and Serena's been defeated for the 4th time. Olympia's Psychic types are theoretically our hardest challenge yet, given our lack of a Psychic type resistance and our generally limited bulk, but fortunately her first 2 Pokemon have a shared weakness to electricity, which we happen to have in spades. Rucha can one-shot Sigilyph, though Slowking is a skosh too bulky, meaning she can hit us with a Yawn. I can switch to Puck2 the Pikachu as Olympia heals, and on the following turn we can chip away at Slowking with another Thunderbolt as Puck2 gets hit by a yawn as well. A switch back to Rucha results in her eating yet another yawn, so at that point I just take the kill with a Thunderbolt and let my strongest electric-type rodent fall asleep. So as Meowstic comes out last, it's off to Puck2. He comes in on a Fake Out, which miraculously manages to trigger Static. Full disclosure, Puck2 was here as a sacrificial lamb. He was gonna paralyze Meowstic with Nuzzle and grant the free switch to Cricklaclack, who could take the kill with 2 X-Scissors. But with that lucky Static proc, he can live. Electro Ball now does a massive chunk of damage to Meowstic, and with our held Eviolite, we should easily survive a Psychic. Unless Meowstic crits. The first death is always the hardest. Puck2 did all he could. He rose well above the Call of Duty, but even then, it just wasn't enough. Puck2, my sweet angel, will never forget the sacrifice you made, and you'll never, ever be replaced. With Cricklaclack, the Kitten Killer, coming in to take the KO, we've officially earned 7 gym badges, meaning that it's time to put an end to Lysandre's plan to literally destroy the world? Is that right? Like, he just wants to commit global genocide? Man, talk about power creep. Back in my day, Pokemon villains were either just stereotypical Italian mobsters or really into water. But okay, time to thwart the potential mass murderer. The first 2 times we fight him are pretty simple. MVP Rucha just sorta sweeps his entire team. But with the Doomsday weapon activated and Lysandre now wielding a Mega Stone for his Gyarados, we gotta be a bit more creative than simply spamming Thunderbolt. Mega Gyarados is a beast, but he's not the only issue, because first is Mienshao, who conveniently loses 50% of his HP from a high jump kick crash, meaning that Rucha can take the kill with a Thunderbolt on the following turn. But second is Pyroar, who originally couldn't threaten Rucha with a critical hit, but now can. Fortunately, we can fairly easily stall out his 5 Fire Blast PP with Protect and switches to Vluppup, the Fire Ice Vulpix, who still has her original ability Flash Fire. No Name resists Pyroar's other 2 attacks, Dark Pulse and Hyper Voice, so just a few turns later, the fiery feline's Fire Blasts are no more, giving No Name the perfect opportunity to take the kill with an Aura Sphere. The only issue is that she flinches. And even if she could survive another hit, which she can't, a loafing turn from Truant means that she would need to take 2 more hits before having another chance. So, sadly, a sacrifice must be made. And though Vluppup did everything I asked of her, it's ultimately she who must pay the price for her teammates' shortcomings. Is it fair? No, but it's what must be done. With the free switch to Rucha, she can now get the 2-shot with Thunderbolt, only needing to tank a soft Dark Pulse in the process. With the Lion finally down, Honchkrow comes out, and immediately goes back in as we nail him with another Thunderbolt for the 1-shot. But now it's time for the Mega Gyarados, and here's the situation. Rucha, Mobfurb, and Pubchub are the only Pokemon that can outspeed. They can all hit Gyarados for super effective damage, but none of them one-shot, and all of them are killed by Earthquake. So there's really only one guaranteed path to victory, and it is ugly. Regrettably, it starts by sacking Sweet Swagduck, but her fate was inevitable. She simply had too many enemies. She smoked too tough, her swag too different, her bitch too bad. She was never gonna stop, and they were always gonna kill her. Rest in peace, Swagduck. Rest in peace. As hard as that was, more deaths are still to come. We can bring in Pubchub for free, and he can nail Gyarados with a super effective Thunderbolt to put him in range to another hit from Rucha, but with that, he's helpless to an Outrage. Wait, what? How did he survive that? Yes, Pubchub is holding an Eviolite, but still, I mean, with that survival and the fact that Static activated again, meaning that Gyarados is now paralyzed and confused from Outrage fatigue, Pubchub has a very real chance to single-handedly defeat Mega Gyarados. Sadly, Electro Ball isn't quite enough for the KO, so it all comes down to whether Gyarados can break through confusion and paralysis. But he does. And so, like Puck2 before him, Pub Chub goes down, falling just short of eternal glory. With that, Rucha can come in and finally take the kill on Mega Gyarados, defeating Lysandre and saving the world, though the cost was immense. 3 souls gone, never to be seen again. All we can do to honor them is continue this absolutely ridiculous run. Like, what am I even doing? This is so absurd. But with our death count up to 4, I decide it's finally time to bring in the big guns. That's right, Mewtwo the Mega Mewtwo Y with Slow Start and Blusk the Mega Blaziken with Stall are officially joining the team. Get ready, folks, because with 2 of the strongest, most powerful Pokemon in the game, things are about to get wild. Stupid Idiot Hotline, how can I help you? Lost your Mega Blaziken to Shauna's Chestnut. Very first battle, you don't say. Brave Bird recoil, yeah. And you're aware that Blaziken can learn acrobatics, no recoil? And, you know, Flamethrower probably would have got the kill too. Yeah, no, you're definitely called the right number. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to need to transfer you to my manager. See, he deals with the, well, we call them the irredeemables, you know, the stupid idiots that are so far gone that... Anyways, please hold while I transfer you. Thanks so much. The rest of the rival gauntlet goes off without a hitch, but losing Blusk is pretty brutal. Still, at the very least, he was the weaker of our 2 Megas. His ability Stall, which makes a Pokemon move last, regardless of speed, is significantly worse than Slow Start, which simply halves the attack and speed of a Pokemon for the first 5 turns it's out on the field. But I pretty quickly learned that I can just have Mewtwo spam Protect and Recover until that wears off, so it's not that much of a nerf. If it wasn't already clear, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into designing this challenge. This video is kinda just for the vibes, and to justify this purchase to my fiance. And the IRS. Anyways, Brexib is able to solo sweep Wolfric's Ice types for badge number 8, so all that's left is to make it through Victory Road and challenge the Elite Four. As is almost always the case, the final fight against Serena is bafflingly easy. Crickla-Clack wins her final matchup against Meowstic, Mooptoop chips away at Flareon before passing the torch to Rucha, who takes the kill with Thunderbolt, and runs it back on the following turn to one-shot Greninja. Amber makes her late-game debut to knock out Altaria, and finally, No Name takes care of Absol with a close combat. But we're not out of the woods just yet, because the final trainers of Victory Road are deceptively difficult. I mean, it obviously depends on your available encounters, but more often than not, I find veteran Timio to be a real ball buster, and this time is no different. His Gigalith is honestly one of the most frustrating Pokemon to fight against. With sturdy and phenomenal coverage via Stone Edge and Earthquake, it's extremely difficult to safely take him out. Most Pokemon can't afford to eat a critical hit Stone Edge, and the ones that can often can't afford to eat a critical hit Earthquake. You can obviously just hope to dodge the crits, or even completely dodge Stone Edge, but it's extremely unreliable. And losing a Pokemon to a critical hit so close to the Elite Four sucks. Believe me. Fortunately, in this case, Girthta wasn't coming to the Elite Four anyways, but arriving at the Pokemon League with 6 deaths doesn't exactly feel great. But hardship builds character, or something, so here's my final team of 6 slugs, all leveled up to the level cap of 65. I've got my speediest sweepers, my bulkiest tanks, my most versatile warriors, and Bunbleep the all-seeing Bunnelby. We got big plans for him, don't you worry. Let's do this. First up on the chopping block is Seabold's water types, because all 4 of them are outsped and one-shot by Rucha. I don't know what else to say. Electric types are pretty cracked in this game. Moving on to Wickstrom, the Steel-type trainer, he leads with Klefki and I lead with Mewtwo. Klefki sets up spikes, which would be a problem if we had any notion of switching, but since this proves to be the perfect opportunity for Mewtwo to stall through all 5 turns of their slow start, we're not going anywhere. So Earthquake then proceeds to one-shot Klefki, as well as Aegislash after we draw him into his Blade form. Probopass has Sturdy, so we can't get the one-shot, but Probopass is Probo-ass, and Flash Cannon does squeakers of damage to my legendary Mega. I probably overcooked with this guy. Oh well, a few turns of healing later and Probopass goes down, leaving just Scizor, who we kill with a Flamethrower tech for the dub. Drasna's our third victim, and against her Dragalge, I lead with No Name, who can get a clean one-shot with Earthquake. I mean, who strategically leaves Dragalge with a sliver so that Drasna wastes a full restore. And then on the next turn, we hit the high roll just as planned, baby. That brings in Noivern, so it's off to Amur, our Eviolite boosted tank. Flamethrower does nothing, Super Fang does a little more than nothing, and then Ice Beam gets the one-shot. Altaria is third and merely tickles Amur with a Moonblast, though our Stablis Ice Beam is just short of a clean KO. And unlike against Dragalge, I don't think a high roll after the heal is gonna cut it. But a critical hit absolutely will. Nice! That just leaves Druddigon, so I bring in Mewtwo, who gets hit by a soft chip away. Mewtwo also knows Ice Beam, but as a physical attacker, it's again not quite enough for a one-shot, which lets Druddigon hit a Dragon Tail, forcing Amur back in. So I switch to Lucario on another chip away, and then take the kill with another Aura Sphere, meaning that there's just one member of the Elite Four left, Malva. And she's last because she's definitely the scariest. We've got 0 fire-type resistances, so this could get ugly. Against Pyroar, Mewtwo can take the kill with a few Earthquakes, baiting out Talonflame in the process. This gives me a safe switch to Rutcha on a still nasty Brave Bird, but with that, we can easily snuff out Malva's fastest threat. Her slowest threat comes in third, so it's back to Mewtwo. Without the sun, Torkoal's damage output is extremely lackluster, which gives us the perfect opportunity to recover back to nearly full HP and stall out our slow start. This does mean that Torkoal gets off a few curses, but since we know Psychic to take advantage of her terrible special defense, the Tortoise falls soon enough, and Mewtwo remains right around 50%. But with Chandelure out last, all we gotta do is click Earthquake one last time, and victory is ours. With that, the Elite Four's been defeated, and we're off to fight against the champion of the Pokemon League, Diantha. Which means, you guessed it, it's time to bust out the popcorn for another live-action final battle. Or maybe if you're new to the channel, you didn't guess that because somehow it's been over 7 months since my last Kalos playthrough. Regardless, it's time to find out if these bootleg abominations have what it takes. Here we go. Diantha leads with Hawlucha, and I obviously lead with my MVP Rutcha, who instantly zaps the masked bird out of the sky with a Thunderbolt to give us an early lead. Tyrantrum comes in second, and not knowing whether he's going for Head Smash or Earthquake, I switch to Amur. She lucks out by completely dodging a Head Smash, which would have obviously done a massive chunk of damage. But with that miss, it's now safe to go to No Name on another quad-resisted Head Smash, which misses again. So, with a single Aura Sphere, we put the poor blind dino out of his misery, bringing in Goodra third. At full HP, Amur is able to easily come in on a resisted Focus Blast. The best Goodra can do is fire off some Fire Blasts, but Avalanche, boosted to 120 base power after Amur takes damage, is simply too much for the friend-shaped dragon to handle. 2 hits bring Diantha down to our final 3 Pokemon, the first being Aurorus. As Amur stares down her Elder, this matchup seems impossible. Aurorus is stronger, faster, and bulkier, but I can't afford to switch out and risk a critical hit or a freeze. Unfortunately, there's no world where Amur makes it out of this matchup alive. Or so I thought. Turns out, Diantha is an idiot, because instead of going for Blizzard, she sets up a light screen as I hit Aurorus with a Thunder Wave. As a result, we now outspeed, meaning that Amur can nail Aurorus with an Encore, dooming him to set up useless light screens for the next few turns. This lets me bring in Mewtwo and cleanly take the kill with a Brick Break that simultaneously shatters Diantha's light screen. So, Gourgeist is 5th and the last Pokemon before Diantha brings in her Mega Gardevoir, which means that it's finally time for him. Bun Bleep takes the stage for the first and only time. With his normal typing, he's completely immune to Gourgeist's Ghost-type moves. Using U-Turn, we can chip away at Gourgeist and switch to Mobfurb on a potential Seed Bomb. Then we can go back to Bun Bleep on a potential Phantom Force or Shadow Sneak, and repeat this process until Gourgeist succumbs to our sheer bunny power. Admittedly, it does take a long time since Diantha heals repeatedly. In fact, we eventually need to start switching out to No Name instead of Mobfurb so that he doesn't get crit by Seed Bomb, and No Name needs to start using Earthquake for some chips so that Bun Bleep doesn't run out of PP. But after nearly 20 minutes, Bun Bleep does indeed kill Gourgeist with a super effective Sky Plate boosted bounce. And with his one job accomplished, Bun Bleep knows it's time to say goodbye. The vision he saw when he first came into this world is finally coming to pass. For as Diantha Mega evolves her Ace Gardevoir, a powerful Moonblast rips through Bun Bleep, instantly killing him and coating the battlefield with snow-white fur. But Bun Bleep will always be remembered as the rabbit who took down the champion's penultimate Pokemon. And not just that, but his sacrifice means that Mobfurb can come in for free. And with a super effective stab poison jab to the gut, Mega Gardevoir falls, winning us not just the battle against Diantha, but the entire run. That playthrough was... well, it was something for sure. I had a blast, so hopefully you did too. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Or don't, I don't know. But if you like this concept of using bootleg merch to decide encounters, let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to directly support the channel, you should join my Patreon or become a channel member on YouTube. Other than that, stay tuned for more Nuzlocke content, and until then, remember to always, always, always play around the critical hit.